Today is Monday, August 18th. The big news today, of course, is that Trump met with Zelensky and other European leaders today to try and wind down the war with Russia. I'm going to bring you the highlights from that, and then we're going to be covering the story. The 6,000 students' visas have been removed since the beginning of the Trump administration, and then we'll talk about J.K. Rowling's latest comments about the trans community. She's gotten herself into hot water again. All that and more will be coming up. First up, something a little light with the Trump and Zelensky meeting. The suit-gate issue from the last meeting has come full circle.
Why don't you wear a suit? You're the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if you do you own a suit?
Yes. First of all, Mr. President Zelensky, you look fabulous in that suit.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, you look good.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, looks good on
I
you.
said the one that attacked you last time. See, that was I remember that.
Yeah, I apologize to you. You look wonderful. No, my first question for you, President Zelensky.
In the same suit. You see, I changed, you are not.
Maybe yours is much better.
The room is a lot more lighthearted this time around, and it's really good to see that progress is being made. Now, there was worry that this was going to be another contentious meeting, given that last night at around 7 o'clock, Trump posted this on Truth Social. President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started. No getting back Obama given Crimea 12 years ago without a shot being fired, and no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. Trump was later asked about this tweet in front of Zelensky during the Q&A session with the press. Here was his response.
President Zelensky, you say in a post on X today, Russia must end this war, which it itself started. President Trump, you say President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to. Which is it?
No, I think that's true. I think we're going to have a meeting. I think if everything works out well today, we'll have a trilat. And I think there will be a reasonable chance of ending the war when we do that.
Earlier in the day, when the other European leaders were in the room, Trump made clear that he is not interested in a ceasefire. He is interested in wrapping the war up, and that would include redrawing map lines.
The 6 or so wars that we stopped, we haven't had a ceasefire. And so I don't know that it's necessary. I don't think you need a ceasefire. You know, if you look at the 6 deals that I settled this year, they were all at war. I didn't do any ceasefires. And I know that it might be good to have, but I can also understand strategically why, well, you know, one country or the other wouldn't want it. You have a ceasefire and they rebuild and rebuild and rebuild, and, you know, maybe they don't want that. But if you look at the 6 deals that we made peace and you know, long-term, long-running wars, I didn't do any ceasefires. Would I like the concept, you know, I like the concept of a ceasefire for one reason, because you'd stop killing people immediately, as opposed to in 2 weeks or 1 week or whatever it takes. But we can work a deal where we're working on a peace deal while they're fighting. They have to fight. I wish they could stop. I'd like them to stop. But strategically, that could be a disadvantage for one side or the other. But all of these deals I made without even the mention of the words ceasefire. We also need to discuss the possible exchanges of territory, taking into consideration the current line of contact. That means the war zone, the war lines that are pretty obvious, very sad, actually, to look at them.
Real quick, if you haven't liked the video already, can you please go ahead and do that for me? I really appreciate it. Of course, during the Q&A, Zelensky was asked about redrawing of the maps and whether he was going to cede ground to Russia, and he sort of dodged the question.
President Zelensky, are you prepared to keep sending Ukrainian troops to their deaths for another couple years, or are you going to agree to redraw the maps?
Thank you for your question. So, first of all, you know, we live under each day attacks. You know that today have been a lot of attacks and a lot of wounded people, and the child was dead, small one year and a half. So we need to stop this war, to stop Russia, and we need support, American and European partners, and we will do our best for this. So, and I think we show that we are strong people, and we supported the idea of the United States, of personally of President Trump, to stop this war, to make a diplomatic way of finishing this war. And we are ready for trilateral, as President said. This is a good signal about trilateral. I think this is very good. Thank you.
It's answers like that that really frustrate Donald Trump, and it's why Trump really wishes that he didn't have to deal with Zelensky. And in fact, I think a lot of media missed this because Trump kind of slid it in there kind of real quick. What he does is he contrasts how strange it would be if the US was in the middle of a war and didn't hold elections, how that really wouldn't be a good excuse. So why is that an excuse for Ukraine?
Real quickly, upon peace, God willing we get peace, are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances, and a little bit we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, maybe, how to say, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, in the battlefield, in the sky, in the sea, yeah, to make possible for people to do democratic, open, legal elections.
So you say
we're ready.
during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now, so you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? Oh, that's good. I wonder what the fake
You like
news
this
is.
idea?
Yeah.
Ultimately, these meetings were a preamble and a temperature check to see about getting a trilateral meeting set up with Putin, Zelensky, and Trump. If that meeting is set up, of course, I will be covering that on this channel, so make sure to subscribe for coverage on that.
We're going to try and get a 3-party meeting, maybe as soon as we can. And I just spoke to President Putin indirectly, and we're going to have a phone call right after these meetings today. And we may or may not have a trilat. If we don't have a trilat, then the fighting continues. And if we do, we have a good chance. I think if we have a trilat, there's a good chance of maybe ending it. But he's expecting my call when we're finished with this meeting.
The U.S. State Department has confirmed that they have revoked 6,000 student visas. Marco Rubio has talked about doing this for several months now. If you are in the U.S., and you are on a student visa, you do not have the right to assault people. You do not have the right to burglarize. And you certainly don't have the right to support terrorism.
Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a footnote that I missed
There's
somewhere?
no constitutional right to a student visa.
So, but is there
Student visa's a
a
privilege.
constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas
Do you
every day
think
all
that
over
the
the world. and we'll
INA, do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
in the meanwhile, I
Secretary,
have the
let me
authority.
be
I will
clear.
continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear
You
this
said that,
country.
Mr. Secretary.
Right,
Let me
on
reclaim
student
my
visas, they're
time,
guests.
because if these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you
we deny
revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will
on-
revoke,
based
and continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed.
visas. We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest
Are
who's
you
here to stir up
going to
trouble.
revoke?
One of the more ridiculous stories you're going to hear this week is that transgender Anna Mouncy is complaining that she cannot compete in the female handball league in the Olympics. And usually when you hear these stories, you want to see the athlete. So here is a clip of them here.
At 6'2", weighing 100 kilos and blessed with a mighty kicking boot, Hannah Mouncy should have been a shoo-in to play at the elite level of the women's Aussie Rules competition. But late last year, the AFL said no, deciding she was too much of a physical threat to her opponents. Hannah believes there's another reason though.
Well, I would love to hear what they think that other reason is. Anywho, this was the tweet that J.K. Rowling put out. The Australian had the headline, "Transgender athlete Hannah Mouncy says she fears her bid to become an Olympic handball representative will be dashed by year's end as anti-trans sentiment is weaponized across world sport." J.K. Rowling rewrote the title to, "Man fears he won't be allowed to cheat his way to the Olympics by playing against women. Man says anti-cheat sentiment is being weaponized against men like him who cheat. Read more here about why the cheating man is sad and why the women he might injure just don't matter." Personally, I think it's quite the achievement for the world's greatest fantasy author of all time to tell you and your supporters to stop living in a fantasy world. At least that medal you've actually earned. And if you look around, you had a lot of fair competition. Thank you for watching. I am Jake Day. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. Don't forget to like the video, and we will see you tomorrow.